Yo guys, it is Ash. I am a Newcastle fan, born in Newcastle, but I moved when I was 5, so I do not have the Geordie accent. Give a little start of just saying that, just because first time making a YouTube video to this. It's quite a bit of the time on the football terrace with Terry and others on the panel. So if you guys ever want to join those streams, they happen multiple times a day. You'll typically probably see me on one or two a day or something. Depends on what's going on. If I'm busy, I'll try and be on it. But I've seen this one so many times. Right, so let's get started. The Isak situation, as we are apparently simpletons, according to Luke Edwards. Basically, there's been a lot of back and forward going on. This is going to happen. Journalists have been getting stuff wrong. There's been far too much information behind the scenes. Eddie Howe's remained pretty tight-lipped. Please, if you ever get the chance, listen to what his interviews say. Craig Hope, Keith Downey, and others. Fabrizio Romano sometimes also does say what Eddie Howe has said during his recent interviews. He said, and I quote, well, not an exact quote, but it's like verbatim. It's very close. Eddie Howe basically was asked a question on our last pre-season game if he knows about the football club telling Isak that he is not allowed to leave, and he has said that he has no knowledge of that. So when you hear some people being some journalists or whatever saying that Isak's not allowed to leave, take that with a pinch of salt, please. It's created a lot of problems. But basically, what Luke Edwards is here is basically just said, and he's had a bit of a flipping thread with himself at this point. He's had a bit of a conversation to himself. More or less, what he said is the board has told him he is not for sale. That is a lie, because it is very much out there that he is. It's just the price is about 150 million, and we want to get some strikers in. If we get some strikers in, he will be sold for the right price again. But in the same tweet on X, he has said his behaviour has forced them to contemplate the terms of what he would take for them to sell, which, take that as what you wish. Apparently there was an agreement in the previous season with, whether it might have been with Paul Mitchell or whatever. Obviously he left a couple of weeks before the transfer window opened, that apparently he might be leaving, that he had an agreement with, probably just a verbal agreement, since obviously nothing's gone down the route, but obviously you would expect them to honour it. At the end of the day, very, very expensive striker, one of, if not the best in world football at the moment, up there with the likes of Kylian Mbappe and Erling Haaland, which is crazy to say as a Newcastle fan that we have a player of that calibre. He slightly tainted our views as Newcastle fans to an extent. Obviously, ending a massive trophy drought that we've had with winning the League Cup, securing Champions League in the last 2 out of 3 seasons. Unbelievable player. However, the way that he has gone about this, trying to get out of the club, is terrible. It's absolutely disgusting behaviour. I will state this on the record as well. Johan Wissa also going on strike. Granted, he's back training with the team and everything now. Any footballer that goes on strike, I don't think is right. I think that there's a hit and miss on the line you can have with it. Obviously, as he gets close to the transfer window, if you have discussions during the season, be like, I'm leaving now, I want you guys to get me gone. As the transfer window opens, if like your club doesn't try to get a replacement in and be like, no, you stay in, I could maybe understand the player being a bit annoyed at that point. But Isak has been apparently offered some contract extensions of around, I think, 200,000 plus a week, which is a big upgrade on his £120,000 a week. Apparently he's rejected them instantly. Apparently he's also sold his house as of, I'm recording this on the 12th of August, about 1 p.m, just to give in case anything's happened or whatever, just so you know what time it is. But I will first of all say I would like to welcome Malik Chow into the football club. Unbelievable defender. It's looking like we potentially could have Sven Botman and Malik Chow as our 2 centre-backs for the future, because they are both very young. unbelievable bit of business. We've been trying to get Malik Chow in for the past few seasons now, and obviously we finally got him over the line. I always say this: take this number when you see this, such as Sky Sports or whatever. We'll say £30 million, which is what they quoted. 35 million pounds is exactly what Sky Sports said. And same with Fabrizio Romano here. Do not take that exactly as the price, because it isn't. We paid 35 million euros plus about 5 million euros of add-ons. So it's £5 million or 5 million euros in this instance, less than what's quoted. But granted, if he hits these targets, then yeah, he'll get some additional bonuses. I think it's always important to take that. Like I will also say this not to do with my club. Say Benjamin Šeško, he's been quoted. He was bought for £73 million, which is not true. It was £66 million with additional add-ons to bring it up to that. So yeah, take that as what you will. David Ornstein, another very reputable source with the Athletic. I highly recommend, if you want to look at some journalists to do with actual news, to do with your clubs or whatever, David Ornstein, Fabrizio Romano, very good. Craig Hope normally is pretty good, and Keith Downey. I do like them both from the Newcastle point of view, with obviously be the Chronicle and Keith Downey from Sky Sports. They're very good journalists. I like Keith quite a lot, although Mark Goldbridge apparently doesn't know who he is. Right, anyway, we'll get into this news that's come out today. Apparently, Isak is adamant he will not play for Newcastle again, which is very strong words since he is contracted with us for another 3 years. And apparently he doesn't want to reintegrate with the club and the other players, which is disgusting, by the way, because apparently we've also given him a number 14 again for this coming season. I don't personally see how he can play for our club. Unbelievable striker. He everyone in the club loved him, but the way he's gone about this is terrible. There was also some news that's come out just before about apparently Jacob Ramsey from West Ham. Interesting. From West Ham. I was going to say, what am I on about? Flipping Jacob Ramsey's from Villa. I just read... That's why I paused for a second. I read Jacob Ramsey and then West Ham, and I was like, he doesn't play for West Ham. Yeah, not sure what's going on there. It's just saying West Ham's also got interest. Okay, right. Should probably have read that before I said that, because that confused me for a second. Yes, Jacob Ramsey is very good. I would happily have him, to be fair, at the club. I'm pretty sure he did. Didn't he score in the last game we played against Villa at Villa Park? Pretty sure he did. Yeah, decent player. We'll happily take him in. But he probably wouldn't be that expensive either. Johan Wissa, looking around £30 million. I don't really understand why we've not got him over the line. That's kind of confused me. But we're going to go through some of this stuff. There we go. Yeah, look there. That's the price difference. €35 million for 5 million add-ons. Obviously, those add-ons will be stuff like number of preventing goals, tackles. Probably not that, but there'll be stuff to do with getting us Champions League and whatever, and probably potentially position in the Premier League table. Yeah, as you can see here, Malik Chow and Botman partnership. That is amazing. And then obviously we're going to have say Lewis Hall, Tino Livramento. Still got trips there, even though he's been apparently approached by Monaco, which doesn't surprise me. I think he's only got a year of contract left. So if he does go, I literally would be more than happy for him to stay at the club, because since obviously the takeover, he was the first person we brought through, and he's been with us ever since. Unbelievable player. I know he had a bit of a rough patch at one part, but who cares at this point? So, to kind of go through the Isak situation, we've tried to get in strikers. As you can say, Luke Edwards said here, Newcastle do not believe there are suitable strikers left in the market. That's just a straight lie, because there are people. I know Samu the other day, he played for Porto. I think yesterday scored 2 goals. He has an £87 million release clause, as he's just signed a contract last season. He held the badge up and then went he's staying here basically to the Porto fans. So I don't see that getting over the line, to be honest. There's other potential suitors say Pav from Benfica, great player again, unbelievable. He has European football experience as well, unbelievable scorer. So if we could get Pav over the line, I would be absolutely ecstatic with that. I think he's 26. Johan Wissa's 29 next month. So those are getting old. Johan Wissa's getting a bit older in his career. So I would not want Ollie Watkins and Wissa because they're too aging in the football in terms of a striker, aging footballers. So say if we spend a combined 90 million on Ollie Watkins and Wissa, 30 million and 60 million, it would be that we wouldn't really have much sell-on value. So it's like 90 million pounds, obviously, depending on what they can get us. If they can get us Champions League and attract other players in, it'd be great. But we wouldn't really be able to have much sell-on, or the contracts would end up just going down until we had them, unless if we got them on a very short-term contract, say for Ollie Watkins. I think Nicholas Jackson, I don't want him at the club, if I'm being honest. Same with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. If they're going to be our first team, they're going to be our first strikers, I wouldn't want that. Nicholas Jackson, you're talking 50 to 60 million, far too expensive, doesn't get that many goals. We need much better than that. So we're going to have to look throughout potentially Europe, or Strand Larsen's okay. The striker from Stuttgart is also okay. I think his name's Nick Voltmaid. He's, pretty sure he's like 1.98 meters, so he's a very tall guy. But he seems to be pretty decent at scoring goals. I've watched him. He looks pretty good on the ball. Seems very similar to how he plays as Alexander Isak. So potentially that could just be like a talent that we try to nurture while having Johan Wissa as our main striker going forward for a bit. Sorry about that. I think we definitely need Wissa. I don't understand why we've not got him in yet. I hope we get him in the next week, because if we don't have Wissa or anyone, we are going to be absolutely screwed since Callum Wilson's gone. I don't really understand what the club's stance is at this point, because we need him gone. Liverpool put an offer for 110 million, which was incredibly low. I'm normally on, say, the football terrace with Terry and some other people. If you guys ever want to be on there, see me on there. Drop a like, obviously. Subscribe to the football terrace. Great place. Has a lot of call-ins. You guys can probably get yourself on if you've got something to say. But at the end of the day, if we don't get any strikers in, or even if we just get one, Isak can't leave, and he's under the club, and all he's done is done this off his own back. Eddie Howe found out that when he had a knee injury, he went to Real Sociedad and obviously was on his hollybobs in Spain instead of being at flipping Benton, where he should have been. So, bit weird. Don't really understand how that's happened. He's completely disrespected the club and the fan base. He needs to be gone. I'm slightly worried that we're not going to be able to get the actual amount of money that he deserves to go for because of how he's treated us. Similar with the Garnacho situation, but that's a different story. Yeah, it's going to be an awkward one. We're going to get strikers in, and then Liverpool may try and lowball us because we're going to try and sell Isak, and it's going to come across like we're desperate, so we'll have to accept a lower amount. But if we do get a 135 with 10 mil on add-ons, that will be good. I'll be happy with that. He's worth 150 mil, easy. So we just got to see how the window goes. I'll probably do more videos if anything else comes out. It's been an okay transfer window as it's going. I can't make a full-on conclusion until we're at the end of the window because it's still another 3 weeks. But we'll see how it goes, and hopefully we get 2 strikers in, Wissa and a younger striker to learn from Wissa, since he had the same amount of goals, excluding penalties, as Isak last season. So I think it could be, we could end up finishing this window and being happy as a Newcastle fan base, to be honest. Evidently, our owners have had very high ambitions. We've got some problems up in the board level or whatever at the moment, that we're losing 2 sporting directors of footballs. Obviously, Darren Eales, the CEO, is going to step down because of obviously health reasons. Amanda Staveley and Murdard's gone. It's a bit confusing what's going on when you hear rumours like, say, the Seshko deal, that Jamie Rubin's gone out to be the representative from, us. Which, I mean, I guess it's not too bad, but we should really be having a sporting director of football to do that. Either way, we'll see where we are. And hopefully we can get some good news in over the next week and get some good amount of money for Isak. But we'll see how that goes. But stay positive. Don't read everything. Don't take everything that you read to heart, I'd say. But either way, guys, much love. Drop a like, subscribe, and peace.